Sporting Journal Radio, presented by Onyx.
All right, welcome back. I'm Brett Amundsen. Thanks for tuning in on this station right here by downloading the podcast wherever you get your favorite podcasts or by listening on demand at sportingjournalradio.com. Or maybe you're watching this wherever you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, etc. Dan Amundsen is with us here too. Hey, Dan, how's it going?
Oh, doing well.
And Garett Svir from Slab Seeker Fishing is going to join us now on the show. Garett, how are you doing, man?
Hey, doing good.
Have you been, I know you were busy today. Were you out on the water this morning?
Yeah, I was for sure. It's been really windy out there. And so we're kind of battling the waves today like we have been for about a week. But the fishing's been great aside from fighting some serious wind.
How sunburnt are you getting out there?
Fairly. I try to cover up. People always give me a hard time. I'll have like my sun hood on and long sleeves and long pants, UV stuff. Because if you're out there every day and I'm not trying to tan and put baby oil on or anything like that.
I'll tell you what, I started doing that this year. I have I actually got it for some of my hunting stuff. Sitka makes this core lightweight hoodie, and it's like a real thin lightweight layer that has a hood on it, and then it has a built-in mask. So all summer this year when I was out there fishing, I had a hood up and I had a face mask on and sunglasses like you. I didn't have any skin exposed except for the backs of my hands mostly. So I don't care what anybody says anymore. I don't want cancer. So I like.
No, for surely not.
There it is right there. I was wearing mine.
I'll have to check that out. That's sweet.
Yeah, mine was the camouflage one. So that was the one thing is I would like to get it in a solid color for fishing, but I had the camo one on the whole time. But yeah, those are pretty nice. And, and they're not real hot on a hot summer day out there, so they're kind of comfortable. They're kind of nice for fishing. So
they dry quick too. The ones I'm wearing, I haven't worn the Sitka brand ones, but the ones I'm wearing, they dry really fast too. So if you are sweating, you're dry. Whereas like a t-shirt, you come off the water and you practically have to wring it out. You look and feel terrible because you're soaking wet from sweating too.
Yeah, well, you can see right there the breathability on it is great. And Dan, go back up to the top of it there and show it. So like, not only did it keep me comfortable, go all the way up to the top. Yeah, there you go. But the fish couldn't see me either because it's.
I like it. That's great.
Because it's camouflage. See, camouflage. Yeah, no, I'm all about protecting. And I don't like doing sunscreen because then you're all greasy, and then when you're as a fisherman, Garett, anytime you're introducing different scents to your baits, that can throw off your fishing completely. Like the same for bug spray. So I try not to use bug spray or sunscreen when I'm in the boat as much as possible because I don't want the fish to smell anything.
I'm the exact same way. That In Fisherman did some studies back in the 90s that they published, and they tested a whole bunch of things that you might have on your hands and how fish react to them. And the two things that they were pretty definitive on that fish did not like the smell of was sunscreen and bug spray. So I'm with you. I try to avoid having those things in my boat and on my hands for sure.
Well, we had...
if I do apply some to my face, I usually try to do it before I leave and then wash my hands. And, instead of reapplying, I'll pull my hood up and stuff like that.
Well, I was fishing up in Saskatchewan with a buddy of mine. I'll tell this story real quick, Garett. With Trevor. And it was one of those nights where the big lake trout were just hungry, and there's a time of the year up there that you aim for where all the bait pods converge into this one area, and it's just underneath it is just giant arc, and we were rolling through there, and it was just one of those nights that you'll remember fishing, and the mosquitoes were getting so bad. It was dead calm, and it's just perfect out there, except all the mosquitoes came in when that wind died. And we were like, nope, not doing it. We didn't have the Thermacell with, and finally we put on bug spray, and our night was over. It ended just like that.
Just shut right down.
Completely done. And so it's Thermacells, and it's, long sleeves, face coverings, whatever. No bug spray, no sunscreen for me.
I'm with you 100%.
So fishing's been good?
Fishing has been good. I got a chance to, I found these plastics online from Europe, and this one is the Tioga, and these are from Lucky John. and they're just kind of bringing these things into the United States. And what it is it's a little micro swim bait. Like a lot of guys use Kitex and different swim baits, but they've never really had any little micro ones. So they're doing these little micro guys. You can see it's got a little tail on there. And, this is green pumpkin. And so I've been playing with some really cool baits from Europe. They use them for big perch over there, like these giant perch. And I've just been whacking crappies, trolling these things. This is another one that's really unique that I've never seen a bait like this. It's called the alien bug, and it's infused. They smell really strong. It's infused with a shrimp scent, so it smells like a shrimp dinner on the grill.
Is that what it smells
but all
like?
these little legs, you troll this, and it gets all these little legs get kicking and vibrating in the water. And so it throws off a ton of vibration. And I think it's something these crappies can feel in their lateral line. And so I've been having some pretty incredible success with some of these it's been kind of fun playing with these new baits from Europe that the fish haven't seen and I haven't seen.
So now what kind of jig are you putting those on? And then are you just vertically jigging them? Are you pitching them? What are you doing with them?
We've been trolling just to cover water and cover ground. And so I've been trolling them at, 1.1 to 1.3 miles per hour. As far as jig heads, I kind of switch up between like a standard ball head jig and those Roadrunner jigs with a little flicker blade underneath. Sometimes the blade is kind of an advantage too. It seems like crappies like, some flash. And so that little blade on those horsehead Roadrunner style jigs is pretty good some days too. But kind of depends on the mood of the fish. I had some customers out the other day and they were surprised at how much color made a difference. We made just a little color change, and one guy started hooking all kinds of fish, and he got up about 10 crappies on his buddy. And then I was like, well, real quick. And I was like, we got to get him in that same color. And, we ended up, putting together some pretty big numbers exactly. We ended up putting together some pretty big numbers once we got everybody dialed into the same color. But that's a great bait for trolling crappies that you have up right there. That's been my go-to the last couple of weeks.
That's a Roadrunner. What was the color? What was the color that the one guy had on that everybody switched to?
I was using bright stuff in the morning, and we finally went to this one, and it's called Wakasagi, and it's kind of like a coffee color. It's a twister tail. And it's a real dark color. And, we had been using bright. And the day before, the bright worked fine. But, we switched to this little bit darker color. And really, so definitely play around with that, too. And they were all surprised. They're like, crappies care that much about, color to the next. And some days they really do. We didn't move spots at all. We just came back through with the right color. And we put all kinds of fish on. So that can be pretty important. It's not my first, typically the first thing I look at is my speed. The second thing I look at is, are the fish still there in the area that we've been, fishing? And then I guess, color is kind of a consideration that's farther down the list, but we really noticed the importance of it the other day. So definitely keep that in mind.
So no monkey's milk, or what was the other one?
That hasn't been good lately. Yeah. Bobby Garland does one that's like a translucent, kind of a milky white, but you can see through it, and that one's called Monkey Milk. That's been really good. And Bloody Minnow is always a go-to from Bobby Garland from me too. That's a green bottom and red top, and it's also translucent. Something that they can see light through. It seems like the translucent colors for me far outproduce things that you can't see light through.
And you're mostly just covering water. It's primarily trolling right now.
Yeah, the fish haven't really grouped up yet. We'll start to see that, with crappies. Most people are calling me to catch crappies. And we'll start to see the fish group up a little more here once you hit about mid-September, the second week of September. You'll start to see those fish really congregate. And what they're going to do is they're going to, starting probably the beginning of September, they're going to start pushing out towards those deep holes, and they're going to suspend out there. The majority of the fish are. We're going to see a lot of these weed fish get out of the weeds. And then they'll be, kind of grouped together tighter. But we're finding more like loose schools right now is what makes trolling so effective, is we can hit these loose schools of fish that, I'm assuming are maybe 10, 15 fish, and you can pick off some of them. And as you're trolling, if everybody in the boat hooks up, usually I'll stop and hit spot lock and we'll fan cast it, and we can catch a few more. But it's not like we can spot lock and fan cast it for an hour. It's more like we'll spend another 10 minutes right there and pick off what remaining ones we can get, and then we got to go find another one of those loose, smaller schools of fish. But Once you get into fall, you'll see them start to group up tighter, and then the game will change a little bit. Instead of trolling, we'll vertical jig those fish. Your electronics will play a lot bigger role. You'll want to get right over the top of them. And with the pan optics that's out there right now, it's not even fair. Side imaging was always kind of my friend before, where you'd cruise out there, see them on the side imaging, drag your cursor over, mark the spot where you're seeing the fish suspended on the side imaging, and then go back and get on top of them. The trick with the side imaging is that those fall crappies are easily disturbed, it seems like. So you'd pick off a few of those fish, boom, boom, and then that school would move. They'd scatter and sometimes break off into a couple even different schools of fish. And you just find yourself wondering which way they went. And you could always reconnect, but it was a time waster. So you'd have customers that would get a few fish, real quick. This school would scatter, and then you'd waste time kind of getting back on them. Or now with the pan optics, I've got that mounted on the front of my boat. I can slowly turn that pan optics handle and say, oh, they went 30 feet that way. We can jet over there, kind of hone in on it as I'm driving with the trolling motor, spot lock right on top of them again, and there's almost no wasted time. We're right back on top of this fish. So that's made me, not that we didn't catch them before, but just more efficient in hunting them, and keeping people on better numbers of fish throughout the day.
How late of the season do you guide?
Through September, and then in October I actually kind of switch gears and I do steelhead. And I'm missing out on some phenomenal fall crappie fishing in October, and even the first couple weeks in November. It's really good.
But it's steelhead. Let's be honest.
But it's steelhead time, exactly. And that's something I just really love and I'm passionate about, and that's probably about my favorite thing in life. So I October 1st, I kind of shift all my focus to that, and in the fall, I guide the Brule River in Wisconsin, and then in the spring, I do the North Shore, where I grew up in Two Harbors.
Well, if people want to do some steelhead fishing with you, or if they want to try to get on some crappie trips with you, what should they do, Garett?
Yeah, I have a website. It's slabseekerfishing.com, or I have a Facebook page, too. It's if you go to Facebook and just type in Slab Seeker Fishing, you'll see on the Facebook page, you can kind of look back and see some photos from some other trips. I actually do have some fall steelhead availability, surprisingly. Normally, I had been kind of, with COVID, we weren't able to guide a spring season, and then I rolled all those trips over. So I had been booked solid, but this fall is the first time I have open availability for fall steelhead where I can personally take you out. I've got my nephew doing some trips for me as well, but both Mac and I have time on our schedule, so you could get on either of our schedules for fall steelhead in October this year.
SlabSeekerFishing.com. Garett Svir, thanks for the time today on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys. Have a good day.
You see this? This is Otter Tail County in rural Minnesota. Beautiful, right? 2,200 square miles of country land, rich with rolling farmland and more than 1,000 sparkling lakes. It's where I grew up. I loved it all. Or I thought I did. At least what I knew about it.
Hey, my name's Corey Heppola. I'm a radio host, husband, father, and I was born and raised in Otter Tail County, Minnesota. Now, growing up, I was in such a hurry to leave that I never really got to know my home. What did I miss? What changed? I was going to find out.
Hear more at sportingjournalradio.com or wherever you get podcasts.